Hello and welcome to another episode of Search of the Record, a podcast coming to you from the Google Search team, discussing all things search and having some fun along the way. My name is Martin and I'm joined today by Gary and John from the Search Relations team, of which I'm also part of. Hi Gary, hi John.
Hi Martin.
Yellow.
Woo! Yay! You know what we haven't been discussing for a while? Steve. We should probably talk about Steve because Steve has grown up a bit, hasn't it?
Wait. Can you remind me what's a Steve?
Oh God, Steve is our search engine. We built that throughout, I think we started 3 years ago at this point or something.
Oh no, we are old.
Yeah, it's 3 years old. We should do something with that. You know, it's graduating. It's getting better at doing things. It has so many features now.
Vintage.
No. What do you mean vintage?
So when you say that it has so many features, you mean like it can make you a sandwich or?
No. You know, Steve tries to get people the answers they're looking for. And to do so, we started off with like just having a list of links with like the title and like the snippet. And then we figured, but if you want to go somewhere, then maybe we add some maps. And if we want to do something, then we can have like information to how to do that thing right in the search results so that people don't have to do more work. So we have like all this cool stuff now that people use, I hope. I don't know.
I mean, you probably have metrics about it, right? That people are using them or not.
Yeah.
Do we have FAQs?
I think so. Yeah, videos, shopping, all these kind of cool things. We do have metrics about it.
And I imagine that like in those 3 years, like we had so many brilliant engineers and product managers that we probably launched dozens, if not hundreds, of different features for.
Yeah, but that's a good thing, no?
The search result. Well, I mean, there's probably a limit to it, right?
What do you mean?
Like how many things you can put on a search result page before overcrowding it, I suppose.
True.
You could just scroll.
Scroll?
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
Just keep scrolling. We could do 2D search results. Like you scroll to the side and to the bottom.
Oh, God. That sounds awful. No, I think I'm with Gary on that one. We need some amount of cleanliness, I guess. Hygiene, if you want to call it that. I don't know.
Also, just a sidebar. This is why we don't let John Moo decide for UX questions.
But I know we could do something like you hover over it and it changes a different search result.
Where would you do the cutoff? Like, what features do you think we should keep?
The flashy ones, the animated ones.
No.
The ones that we spent most time developing.
There are lots of aspects to it. And usage metrics are not necessarily just the ones that we have to look at. The time it took to develop stuff, that's also not something that we need to look at in isolation, at least.
Yeah.
I imagine that we need to look at many, many things and decide then, because especially the features that can end up above the fold, they typically tend to get lots of clicks and interactions. And for example, if you have an FAQ result up there, then it's likely that people are going to interact with it in some way, which means that like if you look at just interaction rates in isolation, then based on those metrics, you probably don't want to unlaunch it.
Okay, so we should remove the footer links.
What?
The footer links, because nobody clicks on them, you said, right?
That's literally what I'm just saying the opposite. Like, we don't look at metrics in isolation.
So I get that, because I think you're right. Things that are above the fold that people are having more prominently in the search results is probably what gets a lot of usage. But that doesn't mean that the ones that are not in there and maybe further down are not as useful, because they might get less usage, but they might be immensely useful to the users who are working with them, no?
Right. Like, for example, if you have a preferences link, it probably won't get that many interactions, but people somehow have to end up on the preference pages or page.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, okay, fair enough.
But then how do we decide what to unlaunch? What to ablate?
Ablate? What does that even mean?
Well, only if we had a search engine we could use to look it up. So the term comes from, I think, medicine.
From the Roman Empire.
Not from the... Oh my God.
Ablate.
Why? Or according to this search engine that I just used that relies on Oxford Dictionary for the English language, it says that one of the meanings is gradually remove material from by melting or evaporation, frictional action, etc., or erode material in this way. And that is roughly what we are doing, because we are basically taking a feature and probably slowly removing it, because we are also not removing it overnight. I suppose we run some experiments to see if people get confused if you remove something.
I guess so, yeah. As far as I'm aware, that's how we do launches. So I would be surprised if we don't do ablations the same way.
So we would just remove all of the features individually and see where people get unhappy.
Ultimately, our goal is to make people happy with the search results. Well, loosely defined happy, as in like they find what they were looking for. They found grandma's recipe, or they found that ancient text about aliens, right? So when you're unlaunching things, then you still want to maintain that air quotes happiness.
Oh,
satisfaction. That's the better word.
Okay. So we would just add more kitten photos, make everyone happy.
Well, but if you are looking for information about ancient aliens, then, or potato peelers, even worse, then showing kitten pictures is not necessarily what will give people satisfaction. Right?
True.
Okay. So who would decide what we would start with? Would we just guess, or how would you kind of figure out where the satisfaction kind of disappears?
I mean, I think for most of the features, there is some goal, whatever that is. If we are showing word definitions, then we must have at some point went, I guess people sometimes are looking up the meaning of words, and if we can give them proper definitions from a dictionary, that is a good thing. I don't know how you would measure that, but I guess with the intention of someone trying to find out the meaning of a word, if that person does not have to refine searches to actually find the meaning, or like have to do things over and over again until they actually find something that satisfies their goal, then we could measure that somehow and then say like, okay, so this feature has answered the query sufficiently well that this user seems to have reached their goal. And then we could turn that around and say, oh, so we are seeing people searching for something and we offer them a feature, I don't know, like a map or a video or detailed instructions onto how to prepare a meal or something like that, right, in the search results. And yet they come back with similar intents in the near time frame, like minutes, seconds later, they still are searching for things around this. Then we can conclude that maybe that hasn't had the effect we wanted, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, but that's still just one metric in isolation.
That's true.
The way I would approach it is take a list of all the features that we have, and you probably can make a cut, or fairly easily make a cut about what you want to actually evaluate, like which features. Because if a feature is barely triggering at all, then it's like leave it alone. It's like give it some time, or maybe ramp it up a bit more or something. But then if you have result features that are triggering a lot, then those are the ones that you probably want to take a look at, so your search result page doesn't look like a Christmas tree.
Okay. So it's almost like you would take the features that people are implementing quite a lot. So if Steve creates a new kind of structured data that adds blinking red dots, and all the SEOs go, oh, I will add blinking red dots to all my results, then Steve might say, well, this is a little bit too much.
Yeah,
perhaps.
Might be.
Okay. But would Steve, or would you, when you're running Steve, use raters to kind of look at the search results, evaluate different search results?
Yes, most likely. Although, because I'm not very human, I trust more like automatic evaluations.
Cold hard data,
yes. And in this case, like with features, it's probably easier to just look at like live experiments or the output of live experiments, because then you don't have the human element. It's like, but I like red blinking dogs. What? Dots on my search result page. because I'm a cat. And then the raters will come back to you with, no, you should not unlaunch the red blinking dot feature because we like it. It's not as objective as like which result is better according to these set of questions.
Yeah. The other question is, what do you win when you remove something? Because yes, sure, you get space on the website, you have less clutter, but also if it's a really, really small piece of code that provides a really small, visually small feature, and a bunch of people seem to use it based on data, then but if you have a feature that even if it does provide a certain amount of value, the question is how much does it cost us in terms of how fast can we generate search results if this feature is involved? How much data do we need to store to enable this feature working? And also how much code do we have to maintain and keep working with the rest of the system and remove bugs from to maintain this? So, yeah.
I think we should also take into account more than just Steve's side, because like people generally have to implement something on their website to make these kind of features work. And we also need to make sure that we're not overburdening the people who are making websites, because if we tell them to do all of these millions of things and just keep adding work, then they're going to get upset. And at some point, they're going to say like, oh, I don't care.
But we are taking away features. Like they have to do less. Isn't that the whole
Exactly.
point? So it's a nice thing. Like we should unlaunch everything.
Unlaunch everything. Make it really easy. Okay.
But hold on, that's also a problem for people who are running sites because they have put in all the work and now we're taking away the benefits.
Oh, look at Martin the Amper.
I'm just a tiny, sad web developer who has spent a lot of time implementing all this stuff for Steve, and now Steve doesn't care anymore.
Okay.
So maybe we shouldn't deprecate everything.
But I want to.
Yeah.
Okay, so just individual things where we can tell that it's not adding a lot of value to the search results for users. So we don't have a lot more people kind of jumping to websites because of those features. And it makes it a bit easier for sites to kind of maintain their website.
Yeah. And it makes the search results simpler for users to navigate, I guess.
We can remove titles too. It's like titles are it's like it's so hard. Like you work on a web page and then afterwards like someone comes and says like, give me a title for this page. And it's like, I already spent so much time on this page and you want me to do even more.
What? This is so confusing.
Oh my.
How about modifying features, like making them blend in more?
How?
Like for example, let's say that Steve has this feature where it groups results together, right? That are from the same, let's say, domain. Right? Or even the same organization, let's say. And then according to our metrics, it looks a little cluttery.
Okay.
Oh, because it's indented.
For example, yeah.
Yeah, like the result. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I like it when things line up.
But then there's no visual difference between those new, they are not new results. They are just presented differently. So it might decrease the clutter, but then it might show more results from the same site, for example, or same organization. Is that a problem?
I think that might.
We could just add a rule to Steve and say maximum one result per domain. No,
if I search for a specific thing on a domain, I want to be able to get that. And with that rule, we would preclude this, right?
But we can find more blog posts then.
Well, but imagine that, like, you know that the best potato peelers are from potatopeelers.com. And then you look for, I don't know, Loser Inox potato peeler. And then instead of like showing all the Loser Inox potato peelers from on potatopeelers.com, you get just this one sad result that might not even fit your needs because it only has one blade instead of two. So,
but my kids have heard about potato peelers and they wrote a blog post. Okay. Shouldn't that also show up?
I mean, sure. If the blog, I'm trying to be nice with your kids. Like if the blog post is of high quality and it has the right content for the keywords that people are looking for and all the signals and stars match up, then sure, they should rank. But I think that when I'm buying a potato peeler, which is a massive investment, then I would want more than just one result from a site. Basically, I want to have some options within a site, I think at least. But that's just me.
No, I'm with you on that.
Also, I don't trust your kids.
So two per domain.
No. Oh man. Okay, so I think what we've worked out here is that both launching a new feature and removing a feature in Steve is actually pretty tricky, and we need to look at a lot of things, and we need to figure out a little more detail to what our fuzzy definition of makes the user happy means in the context of a feature that we are considering to remove from the website. That sounds really hard. How are we dealing with that? Do we communicate it, or do we just like silently remove things from Steve?
My perspective, if we want to get kind of cold hard data, then we have to kind of test it without calling that out.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, yeah.
So basically, like 1% of the users would see the change. We can compare and decide based on that, should we try with more users and go from there.
Aggressively nodding here.
Okay, yeah. No, that sounds like a plan. It's more or less like A/B testing, kinda.
Definitely. That's just like machine learning.
You said the bad word.
Ooh.
Oh no.
So we could use AI to just automatically change the search results.
Artificial intelligence has to be everywhere.
So here's an unpopular opinion, or I'm assuming it's an unpopular opinion. I would not announce it at all. I would make the change to the search result page once I measured that I should make that change and decided based on the data that I should make that change. And I would not say anything.
But what if the sites have to implement something?
Hmm.
I mean, when we are removing something, then whatever markup there is on the site, it will just not cause anything.
Yeah, but still, if we told people, hey, if you do this, then this might happen in the search results, and that's no longer true, then we should at least update our documentation to reflect that, so people are not spending additional effort. Because yes, it's no up from our side, but it's word from them.
Sure, like you have to update your documentation so you don't get new usages, or new implementations, but I would not write a blog post, for example.
Okay. So just quietly phasing it out.
I think we should. I disagree. Like, I will start a rival search engine called Ralph.
Called what?
Ralph.
Ralph.
Well, Ralph is like before Steve alphabetically, so it's better.
Okay.
And with my search engine, we will announce changes.
Okay. All of them.
Well,
Sounds fantastic. Okay, before this devolves into a weird competition of building alternative search engines to Steve, because we all know Steve is the one true search engine, we should probably wrap it up here. So we said that we look at data and slowly launch a feature to smaller groups of users to see how it affects them. And I think we can all agree that we want to do the same thing when we want to remove something from the feature list, right? And to be honest, I came into this wondering why we want to remove anything to begin with, but now I see why we want to do that, because not only does it clutter the results, but also it incurs a cost on our end, doesn't it? So we need to look at these costs as well as the potential benefits and weigh them. Okay. And then we unlaunch it gradually. Okay. And I think this is fair to say, if it requires work from the website owner's side, we want to make sure that no one then invests this work going forward when the feature has been removed. And we can probably tell people about this upfront. Okay. But if it's something that is just not happening anymore, then I guess we don't have to have a blog post if it doesn't require.
yeah, I guess, like, for example, the indented search results. If Steve were to remove that, it's like the site owner doesn't have to change anything. So it's like, there's nothing really to announce.
True, that just changes. Okay. All right. Let's find the features we want to remove from Steve, huh?
FAQs.
Okay,
I don't like them.
Yeah,
Indented
okay.
results.
Anything else for the list? We should probably just look at the data.
How-tos. Oh, there are features that we hate, so we remove them.
Ooh, hate. That's a strong one.
You asked for hard data there.
Titles.
You hating something is not hard data.
Well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Correct. It is just your opinion, man.
Titles. What about titles?
No, I like titles.
Okay.
Snippets?
Fine.
No, I don't like snippets. We should just have titles.
Wait, you just want titles? No snippets? Okay. That's a weird one.
I'm trying to think back, when was the last time I read a snippet? I know that users do read Steve's snippets, or the snippets that Steve generates, but I don't. So we can remove them.
Hard data. If Gary doesn't like it, then that's hard data. Okay. I don't know where we can take this any further. Let's rely on hard data.
Come on. Quick in and out. 20 minutes, tops.
I don't know, Gary. I don't know. Okay, so I do hope that we can all agree that launching features wasn't easy, but unlaunching them or removing them or updating them isn't either. And I do hope that that is a bit useful for our listeners out there. And I don't know about them, but I had a bit of fun and I learned a bunch of stuff today. And I do hope that you all out there did so too. And I'd like to say thank you so much, John and Gary, for being with me here. And let's make Steve better.
Let's make Steve better.
Woohoo! Goodbye.
In the next episode, we'll be talking about underrated things in SEO. Au revoir! We've been having fun with these podcast episodes, and we hope that you, the listener, have found them both entertaining and insightful too. Feel free to drop us a note on Twitter at Google Search C, or chat with us at one of the next upcoming events that we go to if you have any thoughts. And of course, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much, and goodbye!